Welcome into the show today. Thank you for making this podcast a part of your day. This podcast is 100% honest 100% of the time. If you don't subscribe yet, hit that subscribe button down in the lower left or right-hand corner of the screen. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, hit that follow button, rate, and review button as well. It's greatly appreciated. As you cannot tell already, I'm a little bit under the weather. Got my coat, my hat, my shoes on to try to stay warm. But this podcast is dedicated to being in your feed 6 times a week. Now, with that being said, I don't know if I'll get up early tomorrow morning and get one recorded before my wife has to go to work, but I'll do my best, and hopefully I'm feeling better by then. This is my Jordan Flu game, and to prove to you just how loyal I am to being your podcasting feed on YouTube or on Apple or Spotify, here I am. It brings me back to one of the sayings I have. You throw me in the middle of the ocean, and I'll find a whale and ride it to shore. That's the amount of perseverance and determination that Minnesota Tim, has to deliver great content to your feed. Going back to 2016, when I was living in Washington, D.C., I got in a massive bike accident on my bicycle. And I was going down a hill, and next thing I knew, I was in the hospital. And I woke up in the hospital. I sent a picture to the Jimmy John's manager just so they know that I wouldn't be at work the next day. I sent a picture to my bosses at Sirius XM Radio so they knew I wouldn't be at work until Monday. Well, I wasn't. The bike accident happened on a Thursday, and I wasn't scheduled to be at work until Monday at Sirius XM. I was diagnosed with a severe traumatic concussion, but you throw me in the middle of the ocean, I'll swim to shore. And I made it to work on Monday, back at Sirius XM Radio, with short-term memory loss. I was told that I told Hank Haney, one of the hosts at the time at Sirius XM, apparently I told him the same thing 3 times in a minute. He said, "Bud, you better get home and get some rest." Or at least that's what I was told. So here I am, Minnesota Tim, delivering even when I'm not feeling good. Glad you're with me. Glad you are going on this journey with me. This podcast is 100% honest 100% of the time, even when it's difficult to do so. So Kevin O'Connell went on the Dan Patrick Show, and he answered an interesting question that a lot of people have been discussing really since the beginning of the preseason last year. And the question that everyone was looking to answer is, if J.J. McCarthy had not gotten injured in his first preseason action against the Raiders, would he have been in play to become the Minnesota Vikings quarterback 1 to start the 2025-2024 season? I said that backwards, but you know what I mean. I'm sick. Give me a break. And I've been on the record saying that it was Sam Darnold's job, regardless of how McCarthy played in the first 3 preseason games. They did not bring in Sam Darnold to ride the bench, or at least at first. And the bye week was in a perfect place for the Minnesota Vikings to put in J.J. McCarthy if they felt like he was ready and if Sam Darnold was not performing to the level that they thought the quarterback should be performing in. So here's Kevin O'Connell revealing the truth about Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy in their quarterback battle last year in training camp and preseason.
The NFL Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell of the Vikings. Can you play this what if? Can you play this hypothetical? If J.J. McCarthy doesn't get injured, who is your starting quarterback this past season?
Well, I would say this, Dan. We had just seen JJ, playing his first preseason game, there was a lot of positive things on that tape that left us as a coaching staff saying, we absolutely need to see this thing through to the end of training camp. But at the same time, everybody, and rightly so, everybody was talking about JJ as the first round pick and exciting young player we're fired up to have in our organization. Sam Darnold was having a really good camp. And it was showing up day in and day out. It's one thing to, go to training camp practice every day, but when those guys are competing against Brian Flores and that defense, it's not exactly, standard defense that you're going to be able to say, your quarterbacks really haven't been in stressful environments yet, so we need to get to the games. Our quarterbacks, since Flo has gotten here, they can't wait for those preseason games to come because what they're going up against every single day in practice. So I love the fact that Flo pushes us all to be better, and our quarterbacks get to be in a massively stressful environment every day, which only helps competitions and helps you figure out what you have. But I would argue that I think both guys would have continued on through, and I would probably say, Sam Darnold would have been our starting quarterback just out of the experience and knowing that I am very much constantly aware of the minute-to-minute, hour-to-hour, day-to-day development of quarterbacks. It's very important to me that I take the personal ownership and accountability to what that position ultimately feels from me, from a support structure, but also coaching. Josh McCown in the quarterback room, Wes Phillips as our offensive coordinator. We've got a pretty good setup around these guys that we feel like if we just invest in the daily, we're going to get positive results, and these guys are going to be kind of building themselves up to the opportunity to go have success playing in NFL games.
So in Kevin O'Connell's long monologue, he was very clear and intentional about the development of Minnesota Vikings rookie quarterback J.J. McCarthy. When they dove into the quarterbacks coach Josh McCown and the development of J.J. McCarthy, one, we have to consider the age of J.J. McCarthy. McCarthy is not a 24, 25-year-old rookie. He is drafted on the Minnesota Vikings as a 21-year-old rookie. He just turned 22 on January 20th, just a few weeks ago. So there was a lot of development and education for J.J. McCarthy to learn in his rookie season. And unfortunately, he got injured. So some of that was limited. But with virtual reality and with so much technology advancements in the past few years, I believe that McCarthy will be more ready to be QB1 next year than a quarterback that went through the same thing in 2010, just because of the technology and ways that quarterbacks can develop. Now, Kevin O'Connell was also clear that we drafted McCarthy for a reason. He's going to be our guy. We liked him. We loved him. Top 10 quarterback. But Sam Darnold was always going to be QB1 for the Minnesota Vikings last season. And it's been discussed, debated. Oh, what would have happened if McCarthy didn't get injured? How would he have performed against the Cleveland Browns in joint practices and in that second preseason game? Oh my gosh. There's people that went on record and very much believe that McCarthy would have been QB1 if given a chance at 2 more preseason games. And I pushed back against that thought. I said, no way. He's not going to be QB1. He's 21 years old. He was not asked to do much at Michigan. And the Minnesota Vikings brought in Sam Darnold to be that bridge quarterback. And now we're seeing that play out. The Vikings are going to let Sam Darnold hit free agency. And the Minnesota Vikings expect McCarthy to be QB1. So besides the McCarthy injury, which was devastating to the Vikings organization, but not really. Darnold was always going to be QB1. Besides that, everything has gone exactly according to plan if you are Kevin O'Connell or Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. Sam Darnold performed better than you ever could have imagined, taking your organization and roster and going 14-3. And you've got J.J. McCarthy waiting in the wings, developing mentally and physically getting stronger. Now, Sam Darnold is going to hit free agency. He's going to get a big payday from the Raiders or some other organization. And McCarthy appears to be on the trajectory to be ready in OTAs and off-season workouts. So, Kevin O'Connell revealed the truth, but he also revealed what we already knew, or at least some of us. Because as much as everyone wanted to see the flashy new toy, J.J. McCarthy, Sam Darnold was always going to be the guy. One, he's talented. He just was never in the right situation. And two, McCarthy was 21 years old. It's young for any quarterback, for any position in the NFL. It's not just quarterback. How many 21-year-old players do you see making a massive impact on NFL rosters? Hardly any. I'll even look it up right now. Youngest NFL player. Youngest active NFL player this season. Let's see. Braylon Allen. 20 years old, New York Jets. A running back in limited action. So you see guys play, I guess, at this age, but even Dallas Turner was 21 years old. He played 16 games, but he did not get that much action this year. He saw the field occasionally for the Minnesota Vikings defense. So for some of us, it just revealed the truth of the matter, which we already knew. And for some of us, it was a devastating truth because now your hearts are broken because you thought McCarthy had the goods to be QB1 his rookie year. There's so many McCarthy defenders from Michigan to Minnesota Vikings fans. But let's face the fact, he was not ready to be QB1 his rookie season on opening day on the road against the New York Giants. It was a fun talker. It was a fun discussion. But reality is reality. And Darnold was always going to be the guy. Thank you for watching and for making it through this podcast with me. Hopefully I'm back tomorrow. No guarantees on that. Even though I'm back on a podcast 6 times a week. You know, there's some things going on with me right now. Wearing a hat, a coat, struggling. Nasally. Blowing my nose. Sore throat. But here we are. Delivering. You put me in the middle of the ocean, I'll find a way to swim to shore. Thank you for making this podcast part of your day.